Hello, my name is Chris Ryder and this is my Kawasaki KLE500. My next project is to turn this bike into a post-apocalyptic trail bike. You might want to call it a survival bike, you might want to call it a wasteland bike. It's definitely going to be post-apocalyptic. So, what is a KLE500? Quite simply, it is the same engine as the GPZ 500S, which is also known as the Ninja 500 if you're in the USA. And the frame is very similar to a KLR 650. So 500cc twin cylinder engine, which is also used in a sports bike and some other Kawasaki models. The frame has off-road suspension, single disc front and rear. It's a capable off-road bike, but it's not the fastest and it's not the lightest. As long as you're not trying to race, you can get pretty much anywhere off-road that you'd get on most bikes. It's a good bike for a nomad, but it's not a good bike for a racer. That said, top speed of the sports bike that uses this engine is around 120 miles an hour. Top speed of this bike, I think, is somewhere above 110. In all honesty, I'm not going to drive it that fast, but what does matter is that this will sit at between 70 and 80 miles an hour all day long, which means I can use it on the UK motorways and it won't be getting stuck. It will be able to keep up with the pace of traffic. So, what condition is this bike in? Well, I've ridden it and mechanically it's very good. The engine pulls well, the suspension works well, the brakes work well, but cosmetically it is quite scruffy. You can see that it's got the stainless exhaust pipe. I think it's stainless. It's shiny, so after the apocalypse it won't be shiny. I can deal with that later. The plastics are all standard. I don't like the purple seat and the green, purple and blue and orange on the tank and on the side panels. But the important thing is the bike is mechanically very good. Cosmetically it's quite tatty. We'll have a close-up of it. Here's the engine. Now the mileometer says that this bike has done 9,000 miles. This engine looks like it's done an awful lot more than 9,000 miles. And if you look here at where the water pump cover is, you can see here it's had some repair welding to it, so the engine has been crashed on this side. You can see that it's losing its paint off the engine. You can see that there's corrosion fur here. This bike is a 1995, so it's more than 20 years old. This is what you expect to see on a bike that's lived in the UK, where everything rots and everything rusts. Here, looking at the forks, you can see more rust, more corrosion, just generally an old scruffy bike. Here's the same bike from the other side, more of the same. You can see that it's just scruffy, tatty, cosmetically not very good. So what have I done? Well, the first thing is I've got all the paperwork into my name, and I've been and got a roadworthy test. In the UK we call that an MOT. You have to get that every year. So what that means is that now this bike is fully legal. I've ridden it and I've got 1 year until it has to get another MOT certificate. I've also got a manual. Fortunately, it's the Kawasaki factory manual, which is pretty good. So, what next? Well, the bike is fully legal, it's running. For anybody else, if you are starting a custom bike project, whether it be a cafe racer or a chopper or a street fighter or a rat bike or a post-apocalyptic survival bike like this one, always start with a running motorbike that you know is working well. It makes it easier in the long run. That's the end of this video. Take one last look at the bike in this colour, because very soon it will not be looking like this for much longer. See you in the next video.